Yes, and there it is. I don't know, I think that Mahmoud Khalil, he should be made president of Harvard University. And he might be before the Democrats are done with him. His name is Mahmoud. Mahmoud has changed. Mahmoud has changed, yeah. Used to be kind of a happy guy, then his mood changed. And a very good Tuesday to you, and welcome back once again. We continue to be at 888-630-9625. A lot going on in Washington today. Waiting for the Speaker of the entire House of Representatives to hold a vote on, oh no, don't shut the government down, oh no. At least one Republican, I think two Republicans, planning on voting against Speaker Johnson's bill, the continuing resolution to keep the government open, because what would we do if the government wasn't open, like on every Saturday and every Sunday? We'd have to panic, and it's only a partial thing anyway, because the government doesn't really close down, does it? So we've got that going on, and we're keeping our ear to the ground on that because it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I just want to, I want to come back to this Mahmoud Khalil moment, the jihadi who claims to be of Palestinian lineage, but he's actually from Syria and lives in Algeria and doesn't live in Israel or the Gaza, because who would live in the Gaza? What kind of an idiot would move there when you could live almost any place else? Maybe go back to Syria, where they're actively massacring Christians by the thousands because, you know, he's a Democrat. And they say that he's married to a Democrat woman, to an American woman. That's what they say. But they only say reportedly, because there is no apparent proof of this. Now, President Trump has announced that Mahmoud Khalil will be expelled from the country when his green card is canceled because he lied on all of the forms to get his green card, given that he's a big supporter of Hamas and radical Islamic jihadi terrorist organizations, Hamas and beyond, and that he's a genocidal racist and he's a modern-day Nazi. And so he lied on the forms to get probably his student visa. Then he got to the United States. He married a nice girl from the suburbs, no doubt, who thinks that she's a hipster. And I think we should deport her with him back to whatever beephole he's going to be deported to. I think we should airdrop him into Gaza. Hey, he's got a new bride. Drop him in. There are tunnels there that you people would enjoy, I think. But President Trump, the Associated Press with a headline, Trump warns that arrest of Palestinian activist, he's an activist, he's a terrorist is what he is, at Columbia will be, quote, first of many. And the Associated Press and the other media very upset about that. They want jihadis to stay here and kill because the left loves death more than we love life. Amazing stuff. NBC fake news. Protesters demand. They always demand. They never have a request. It's always a demand. It's a violent mob with a list of demands. I think I see which way this is heading in the United States, and not heading in a positive direction. It's the left and the jihadis and the Sinaloa cartel, and it's almost like they're not on our side. Protesters demand release of Palestinian activist. He's an activist, not a jihadi. Mahmoud Khalil as Judge Blocks. Michael Piercy and I this morning looked at story after story on Al Gore's amazing internet over here, peace be upon him. ABC fake news with the headline, Judge Blocks removal of Palestinian activist who was detained at Columbia. Kick him out of the country so fast that, you know, his beard would spin. And the New York Times, among American Jews, a schism over ICE arrest of Columbia activist. Yeah, left-wing radical Jews are suicidal, and they'd like to be killed. So they want to invite more jihadis into the country. And CNN used to be a news organization, but they stopped that a long time ago. Who is Mahmoud Khalil, Palestinian activist detained by ICE over Columbia? Now, here's the thing. We looked at story after story for the name of the judge, and story after story failed to name the judge that has blocked the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, who is one of the primary organizers of the Jew-hating genocidal lunacy at Columbia University in particular, where he flew into the country and lied on his visa applications to get to Columbia, where Barack Hussein Obama went. And he was there in the master's program on a student visa. Then he got a green card, and then he allegedly married, some nice Caucasian girl from the suburbs, probably an Ivy League girl at Columbia, too. Every day is an IQ test, and every day, every Democrat fails at the IQ test. So judge blocks removal of Palestinian activists, and protesters demand release of Palestinian activist Mahmoud as judge blocks. Well, we did find the judge, Jesse M. Furman. Jesse M. Furman is the judge involved in blocking the deportation of the jihadi. And you'll be shocked to learn, I say, that Judge Jesse Furman was appointed by Barack Obama, by Barack Hussein Obama. I think the Hussein is very important in this context. It matters in this context because he is not on our side and he never has been. And he was raised by, a communist, Frank Marshall Davis, as his mentor, and his father, the, Kenyan jihadi. That's Barack Hussein Obama Sr. Remember, he was a drunk who went around crashing cars into people and all that stuff and abandoned his child in the United States and all that. But here is the judge, Jesse Furman, an Obama appointee who, hey, where did he go to school? I said to Michael, where did he go to school? So he said, hey, let's find out where he went to school. Barack Obama, he went to Columbia and then he went to Harvard Law. And Jesse Furman, who's saying, oh, you can't deport jihadis from the United States before they murder a whole bunch of people. Come on. What kind of un-American stuff would that be? Well, naturally, he went to Harvard University, Jesse Furman did. And then he went to the University of Oxford. That's in England, doubtless a Rhodes Scholar, like, $25 million a year MSNBC host Rachel Maddow. Rhodes Scholar. They're very, very bright people. I got to tell you, these institutions are run by space aliens who are here to bring genocide to planet Earth. And then he had to go to law school, so he came back here and he went to Yale. So he went to Harvard for undergrad and then Yale for law school and a little Rhodes Scholarship at Oxford in between. And now he's a jihadi, Furman is. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. Wah, wah, wah. That's your Democrat Party. So, no, you got to stay. You got to stay here in the United States. You can't kick out a jihadi just because he lied on his student visa form about supporting Hamas and radical Islamic jihadi terrorist organizations, and then he lied form about getting a green card to stay in the United States because these forums, they have all kinds of questions about whether you support radical organizations. And so Mahmoud Khalil doubtless had to misinform American authorities in order to get his student visa and then his green card. And he might not have been entirely truthful with his loving bride, who undoubtedly is an Ivy League, Columbia University person, too. But you can't find out anything about it because we don't have a news media to speak of. Isn't that amazing? Your Democrat Party. They are something. Now, with that said, I hope that he's deported today. I hope that his bride, who is reportedly an American citizen, is deported with him. I hope they're delivered to the Gaza. I call it the Gaza, and maybe to the tunnel system there. They can enjoy life in the tunnels. I think that would be good. Now, with that said, let's go on to more crazy because the Democrats are everywhere. Yeah, and Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, isn't she amazing? Yes, she is. She's pro-jihad. She is genocidal, racist, anti-Semite. She is pro-Sinaloa cartel, anti-immigration, customs enforcement, anti-border patrol. And she is a Democrat, member of the House of Representatives, in good standing with the Democrat Party, given that the vice chairman of the Democratic National Committee, the child prophet of doom, and death. David Hogg, 24-year-old David Hogg, is the vice chair of the DNC. And he is all about, we've got to save Mahmoud Khalil. We can't be deporting people just for being part of the jihad. What kind of people are we?
We must eliminate funding for CPB, ICE, and their parent organization, DHS. These agencies are inept to humanely guiding migrants through our immigration system. Instead, they further continue to terrorize migrant communities.
Yes, terrorize. The U.S. government is terrorizing migrant communities as she's defending the Sinaloa cartel and Mahmoud Khalil. Isn't she amazing? She's a Democrat. Perfectly mainstream Democrat. The Democrat Party has gone completely mental. All right, Michael, let's take a phone call. Let's go to Marco calling from Springfield, Virginia. Marco, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, I don't blame Tlaib as much as I blame the crazy people in Michigan that habitually vote for clowns like that. Remember, the first time she ran for office, she wasn't running on a particular platform. She was running because we're going to go to Washington and we're going to impeach him, referring to Donald Trump, of course. And then when you think about it, I mean, she's no crazier than Iona Presley, Jasmine Crockett. They're just a real assortment of weirdos. They've gone from being weird Looney Tune lefties to being foul-mouthed Looney Tune lefties and racists, I might add. So she's in good company.
You're 100% right, Marco, of course. And you're right. Now, they've created an almost no-go zone in Hamtramck, Michigan, where they would vote for Osama bin Laden over a normal person. And that's how Rashida Tlaib was elected to Congress. And the Democrat Party loves this. They celebrate it. They high-five each other. And since, Marco, you mentioned Jasmine Crockett as one of the squad lunatics, we happen to have some Jasmine Crockett right in front of and the Vulgarian and all that good stuff. Jasmine Crockett, just mentally deranged.
They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime.
It's not a crime. It's just illegal to enter the country illegally, but it's not illegal, according to Jasmine Crockett, who is an actual attorney, graduate of law school. They should call and ask for their sheepskin back. And she's a Democrat member of the House of Representatives.
When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder.
Every Democrat are racist. They're all racist. The mediocre white boys. Hey, Kitty Cat, I got your mediocre white boy over here, you little racist. She is truly something, isn't she? Yes, she is. Man, oh, man. Now, at least she didn't go to Harvard and Yale. She went to Rhodes College and the University of Houston to get her law degree. Jasmine Crockett.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Off.
Yes, she's keeping it classy. They are the third world. Make no mistake. The left is the third world. The Democrat Party is the third world. Jasmine Crockett is the third world. Rashida Tlaib is the third world. The Democratic Party is the third world living among us. And they are here to destroy the United States of America and civilization itself by extension. Other than that, I'm sure they make good neighbors and in-laws. You know. Maybe we should send them all a lot of free fentanyl. What do you think? Just to get things rolling. Did you know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived, and it builds on the incredible success of the previous two generations, which quickly became bestsellers, 5-star reviews all over Al Gore's amazing internet, and the new Thunderstorm uses two technologies that studies have proven help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air in your home and your office. Also removes dust and pet dander and smoke and a whole lot more from the air that you breathe. helps get rid of any odor at the same time, and no filters to have to buy and replace over and over again. Listen to the Thunderstorm. Get rid of any stinky odor. Smelly shoes and litter boxes. Left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. And this week, when you buy one Thunderstorm, you get one for free. No matter how many you buy, you get an equal number for free. Buy 5, you get 5 for free. Put them up and down your house, bring them to the office, make them gifts. So go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code ChrisBogo. Chris, B-O-G-O, buy one, get one. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ChrisBogo. Yes, sir. Yeah, Marco. I mean, and the thing is, everybody, if you're paying attention, if you listen to this radio show and this radio station, then you are well informed. These people they're unnaturally ignorant people.
We're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the motherfucker.
Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at WashingtonTimes.com/Chris. All right, let's go to the telephones, Mike. Let's go to Diego calling from Norridge, Illinois. Diego, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris. I just listened to your show. I'm pretty new here.
Uh-huh.
I have dual citizenship from Mexico and here in the United States, and I own a bunch of restaurants here
cool.
in California, Texas, and Guadalajara, Mexico.
Wow, beautiful.
My question is this to you. The way you speak, did an immigrant ever hurt you personally, or why do you sound like you despise immigrants, any type of immigrants? Am I correct or am I wrong?
You're wrong. What did I say that gave you that impression?
Every time you mention the word I've only listened to it like maybe 5-6 times here, your show. But every time you seem to mention the word immigrant, it's something negative. I've never heard you say one. I mean, I don't know you that long, but I never heard you say anything positive about immigrants. Why not?
Well, I think you need to listen.
Somebody hurt you personally.
You need to listen. You need to listen for a bit longer, Diego. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm not. And listen, my father's name was Jules Orteg. I was Christopher Orteg until I was 5 years old, and my mother remarried, and I got this funny last name Plant instead of Orteg. But I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm not anti-anybody. America's the great land of immigrants, and you sound like a great example of that. You own multiple restaurants in multiple locations. You're a hardworking guy. We need millions of people like you, Diego. I've got to say, what we don't need is illegal alien gangs from Venezuela killing and raping. I'm sure you'd agree with that, or jihadis from Syria.
Fighting with Mexico, yet we in love with Putin. What is happening? Like, this is not America. This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the up, because I'm ready to get on with it.
Yes. Democrat members of Congress, Jasmine Crockett. I don't know for you, last week there was this video that emerged of Jasmine Crockett speaking normally and then speaking urban, side by side. Turns out she sounds like Queen Victoria when she's speaking normally, but then she turns on I'll just say urban, because you don't want to say ghetto, but there it is. And Diego, I'm glad that you called in, and I'm glad that you're listening, Diego. And I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm anti-criminal. I'm anti-Venezuelan gangs flowing into the country. I've seen the murders and the rapes and the crime and the mayhem perpetrated in Maryland and Georgia and beyond. It's not one or two incidents. It's an endless stream of madness, Diego. And I'm sure you don't want that either. You didn't move to the United States, so it's just another beephole country that you're going to have to flee one day, right? And I don't go on talking because it sounds like I'm taking credit for something that's not mine to take credit for, Diego. But when you called in and you spoke to Jasmine, the great and wonderful Jasmine, both of Jasmine's parents are immigrants to the United States and came here separately. And They met elsewhere, but you know, a wonderful immigrant family, and you know, my grandparents and great grandparents, everybody's immigrants, Diego. It's the great American story. Immigrants coming to the United States, America, and becoming successful and becoming Americans like you. And Diego, you know, he owns restaurants, where did he say, in California and Illinois and in Mexico? Did he say Guadalajara? Is that what he said? Oh, no, Guadalajara won't do. And that's the great story, Diego. And I don't even know anybody that's anti-immigrant. I'm anti-criminal immigrant. I'm anti-drug trafficking, child sex trafficking, gun-toting, crime-committing immigrant. And when you're caught, you should be treated as harshly as anyone anywhere on the planet. You should be treated very, very harshly. And when you're a jihadi, and that Diego, and that's what we're talking about. And honestly, these gangs and the cartels and these idiot Democrats, and Diego, I don't know if you're a U.S. citizen and you vote in the U.S., but you're in Illinois, so you don't have to be a citizen to vote in Illinois, right? Isn't that right? They don't follow the law or anything like that. But, you know, immigration, good. Crime, bad. And we've got these idiot Democrats that are defenders of the underground tunnels coming into the country that are dug by Mexican drug cartels like the Sinaloa cartel. And we've got Rashida Tlaib, furious, angry, that we would try to shut the tunnels down that the cartels built underneath our border. Pretty amazing stuff. Did we play number 27, Michael? Oh, okay. My apologies. Right, okay. Yeah, this is Congressman Eli Crane, who's a Republican and a sane person, talking about the bill that Rashida Tlaib voted against yesterday because she's in favor of Sinaloa cartel tunnels coming into the United States. And Diego, I don't think you came here to, suffer the fate of the Sinaloa cartel or of the jihadis of Hamas. But let me tell you, Diego, the Democrat Party is not, if you're here to be, and it sounds like you really are, you own multiple restaurants in Illinois and in California and in Guadalajara, Mexico, you are exactly the kind of person that we want coming to the United States. You're hardworking and prosperous, and you employ people and undoubtedly pay your taxes, and you listen to, I'm going to guess you're listening to WLS in Chicago, but I'm not certain where you're listening to the show. But we're the pro-American people, Diego. We're on our side. And I think you came here to be on our side, too. And you run restaurants in Illinois and California and in Guadalajara, Mexico. You're the man. You're the guy. You're exactly the guy we want coming to the United States. No doubt about it. And here's Congressman Eli Crane, who sponsor of the bill that would shut down the tunnels coming into the United States that Rashida Tlaib voted against last night.
The Subterranean Border Defense Act would help us address the growing threat of illicit cross-border tunnels by requiring annual reports to Congress on counter-tunneling operations, fortifying our security system at the border. Put simply, this would help ensure that Congress has the necessary data to forge another much-needed layer of defense. As transnational criminal organizations continue to grow in both size and sophistication, illicit cross-border tunnels along the southwest border of the United States represent a significant and growing threat to national security. Congress must address this deadly threat and ensure U.S. Customs and Border Protection has the resources needed to acquire counter-tunnel technology. Since 1990, officials have discovered more than
CTT,
140 tunnels that have breached the U.S. border, with an 80% increase in tunnel activity occurring since 2008.
That's an 80% increase in tunnel activity. And, you know, Diego, I don't think you want the cartels operating scores of tunnels, dozens of tunnels coming into the United States from Mexico to traffic in illegal things, all things illegal. I don't think that's what you came here for, Diego. Sounds like you came here to become a successful American businessman, and God bless you for it. You're very welcome. And I've got to say that the Democrat Party is not the party for you. Democrat Party they're the ones that are actually anti-immigrant, and they're the ones that sully the name and the reputation of immigrants to the United States from Mexico and from every place else. And they're the ones that support and sponsor the Sinaloa cartel and Tren de Aragua out of Venezuela, and they're the ones that back and support Hamas backers at Columbia University and beyond. The Democrat Party is anti-Catholic. For one thing, Diego, I'm just guessing that you might have been raised Catholic, as I was. But, Diego, the Democrat Party, they're the left, man. They might as well be Nicaragua under Angel Ortega. They are the bad guys, Diego. The Democrat Party, they're anti-Catholic bigots. They're anti-Christian bigots. They're anti-American because they're not liberals. They're the left. Now, if you want, a Daniel Ortega-style government, then vote Democrat in Illinois, and it'll come along soon enough. If you want jihad in the United States, then vote Democrat because Rashida Tlaib and Mahmoud Khalil and the Democrat Party and Columbia University and the rest of that cabal that they run with, that gang that they run with. And, he did. I'm sorry. He did say he's a dual citizen. So, Diego, you vote here. And that's great. Now, the Democrat Party, they're anti-Christian bigots. They're virulent anti-Catholic bigots. You try to pray half a mile from an abortion clinic, and they'll put you in jail for years, as they do to grandmothers all over the place. They're anti-Catholic. They're anti-family. And Diego, hardworking guy from Mexico, dual citizen, I'm going to walk out on a limb here. Say that you're Catholic, you're a family man, you're obviously a hardworking and productive man. That makes you a Republican, my friend, and you're very welcome as in the United States and as a Republican voter. But please, Diego, don't come here and vote for lefties. You're fleeing lefties and the madness that lefties create. You're coming here to get away from that stuff, so please don't vote for more of that, Diego. And honestly, you and I could hang out and eat food and have cool beverages and have a great time together, I have no doubt. And I love the fact that you're listening to my radio show and listening to the station that you're listening to right now in Illinois. I think that's great. Wah, wah, wah. Now, we were just listening to these crazy people, Rashida Tlaib and to the racist Jasmine Crockett, who, again, Portia, very oppressed. She's so oppressed. She's a law school member of Congress at an early age. Physically a very attractive person, Jasmine Crockett. But she's certifiably insane, Diego. And these people have no business being in Congress, but this is what the Democrat Party has done to themselves and what they're doing to the rest of us. Honestly, these people. I like to call them these people, Diego. Also, the people at the left wing, most of them are left wing. I'm sure you know this, Diego, the news outlets. The left wing Politico, based in Washington, their headline today is Dems' own polling shows massive brand problem ahead of 2026. That'll be the midterm elections, as you're doubtless aware, Diego. I'm really glad you called in, though. So I'm talking to you. You dropped off long ago, but I'm still talking to you. The poll's findings will be presented at the House Democratic Caucus Issues Conference on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. The Democratic Party's brand is in rough shape in the congressional battlegrounds. Nearly 2 months into second Donald Trump administration, a majority of voters in battleground House districts still believe Democrats in Congress are more focused on helping other people than people like me. Yeah, they're more focused on helping gang members from Venezuela. They're more focused on helping the Sinaloa cartel and jihadi supporters of Hamas at Columbia University. They're anti-police. They're anti-border security. They're against shutting down nefarious tunnel systems run by Mexican cartels, which, as Diego knows, they murder hundreds of thousands of people, quite literally. And the Democrat Party is their friend. They're like, oh, we oh, the other guys, they're racists. Yeah. Well, the Democrat Party will abort as many of your children and force them out of Catholic schools. Oh, there's another story on that today, too, isn't there? Because the Democrats, they don't want you to be able to choose your schools for your kids. They want to force you to put your children into government-run institutions, which are a catastrophic failure, Diego. Now, the polling, back to Politico. The polling first shared with Politico, so it's left-wing polling sharing with their left-wing bedfellows at Politico. One of the first comprehensive surveys of voters in swing congressional districts. That doesn't mean that when they go to parties they put their car keys in fish bowls and swap wives necessarily. They're swing districts, swing congressional districts. Since November of 2024, House Democratic members and staff are scheduled to hear from one of the researchers who will present their findings at the Caucus's Issues Conference on Wednesday in Leesburg, Virginia. The meeting is aimed at guiding members and their messaging as they prepare for the 2026 midterms. And the survey suggests the party has an enormous amount of work to do to repair its image. The Democratic brand is still not where it needs to be in terms of core trust and understanding people's challenges, said Molly Murphy. Sounds like a drunk, doesn't she? So why does Molly Murphy sound like a drunk? Yeah, I've been out. I know these things. One of the pollsters who worked on the research by Navigator, a project within the Hub Project, probably in the end funded by us, because they have these subgroups, right? And they get billions and billions of usually taxpayer dollars, and then they do everything they can to corrupt everything that they touch. So they, got Navigator, and Navigator is within the Hub Project, which is a Democratic nonprofit group, and everybody gets rich off of these nonprofit groups, and they buy boats and get their houses at Deep Creek Lake. Even though voters are critical about Trump and some of the things he's doing, that criticism of Trump doesn't translate into trust in Democrats. The trust has to be earned. Time for that has passed, I think. Amazing. Especially alarming for Democrats were findings around voters' views of Democrats and work. Just 44% of those polled said they think Democrats respect work. They don't, Diego, respect work. You probably know that because you hire a lot of people. Only 42% said Democrats share their values. A majority, meanwhile, 56%, said Democrats are not looking out for working people. Diego, I hope you're still listening. Only 39% of us believe Democrats have the right priorities, honestly. So a lot of that going on. But listen, Diego, buddy, you're you can be my friend and my neighbor anytime you want. The Democrats, on the other hand, and Diego, I grew up in a Democrat Party household. I had to flee the Democrat Party household like so many people. Like Ronald Reagan had to flee the Democrat Party, like Donald Trump had to flee the Democrat Party. Elon Musk fled the Democrat Party. Tulsi Gabbard fled the Democrat Party. All of these people have fled the Democrat Party because, Diego, they're not Democrats anymore. They're leftists. And they're not on our side, buddy, not on our side. Democrats are very upset because Amazon, owned by Jeff Bezos, has announced they're going to begin streaming on Al Gore's amazing internet, peace be upon him, Donald Trump's old NBC TV show, The Apprentice. And it's true, Bezos seems to be sucking up a little bit to civilization, but fear not, he's still a centibillionaire commie when you scratch the surface. Yeah, but Amazon's going to start streaming The Apprentice again, and now that has left-wing conspiracy theorists going mad all over the place. And President Trump announced yesterday that he's going to buy a Tesla. He's going to buy a Tesla today to show his support for You know, Elon Musk, who's getting all kinds of, and Democrats are burning dealerships and shooting up dealerships with rifles, and because they're a violent criminal organization, Diego. Don't vote Democrat. You want to vote Democrat, just move to Nicaragua instead of coming here. All right, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Tony, calling from Silver Spring, Maryland. Tony, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Yes, hi, Chris. My first call with you. Thank you for taking it. I just have a question for you. First of all, I'm kind of a right-of-center independent. You mentioned to Diego that you're not anti-immigrants, but you're more anti the Venezuelan gang crime and so on.
Sure.
I would venture to say, however, that the majority of people who come here illegally don't otherwise commit a lot of crimes. They just live their lives like regular people. But they did come here illegally, and I know Biden let everybody in so easily. So what is your opinion about non-criminal, non-otherwise criminal, but people who came here illegally, aliens?
Well, you should be deported, and you should plan on coming to the United States and immigrating legally so that you're here legally, so that your family is here legally, so that your job is legal, because, you know, you wouldn't, Tony, immigrate to another country illegally, right?
No, I wouldn't. And there are legal immigrants in my own family, so it's me personally. I also live. You also know Montgomery County is full of immigrants. So
I live in D.C. Yeah, I live in D.C. I've lived in D.C. for more than 30 years. You know, a couple of immigrants here, I think it'd be fair to say.
Okay. Yeah, I just, you know, I don't want to be totally incompassionate, but I think the bigger issue is not. Yeah, it's a big issue, the crime, the gangs, the Venezuelan gangs, and so on. But in and of itself, it's an issue that you didn't come legally, even if you're otherwise the nicest person in the world.
That's right.
I just kind of struggle with the idea that I hate to hurt people who are otherwise nice. You know what I'm saying?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Of course. Oh, absolutely. I got to tell you, one of my great friends in Washington in my years here was an illegal alien for 8 years in the United States. Great friend, my neighborhood friend, and he was from Japan. He was from Japan. I brought him to the hospital. I was in the room with him when he died. All right, my great friend from Japan, Joji, one of my great friends. And we had been friends for years, and he's like, oh, did I mention I've been illegal for 8 years?